Millionaire slapped his elderly mother in front of everyone, had no idea who was watching. The grand ballroom of the St. Regis Hotel shimmered under crystal chandeliers, the air thick with the scent of expensive perfume and the murmur of New York's elite. Waiters in crisp tuxedos glided between guests, balancing trays of champagne and caviar. At the center of it all stood Daniel Whitmore, the 38-year-old tech millionaire whose name had become synonymous with success. His tailored Armani suit hugged his frame perfectly, his smile practiced, his charm effortless. The charity gala tonight was his event, another opportunity to solidify his image as a self-made man who never forgot his humble roots. But no one knew the truth. Near the back of the room, half hidden by a marble column, stood Margaret Whitmore, Daniel's 72-year-old mother. Her hands trembled around her worn handbag, her eyes darting between the crowd and her son. She had dressed carefully for tonight, a simple navy dress, her best pearls. But she still looked out of place among the designer gowns and diamond watches. She had only come because she had no choice. Daniel stepped onto the stage, the spotlight following him. The room erupted in applause. "Thank you all for being here tonight," he began, his voice smooth, confident. "Family has always been my foundation. My mother," he paused, gesturing vaguely toward the crowd, "taught me the value of hard work. That's why this charity, helping underprivileged children, means so much to me." Margaret's lips pressed into a thin line. She knew those words were hollow. She had tried calling him for weeks. The medical bills were piling up. The rent on her small apartment was overdue. And yet, every time she reached out, Daniel's assistant politely brushed her off. "Mr. Whitmore is in meetings." Tonight, she had slipped past security, determined to speak to him face to face. As Daniel finished his speech, smiling for the cameras, Margaret gathered her courage and stepped forward. "Daniel," she called out, her voice frail but firm. The crowd turned. A few murmurs rippled through the room. Daniel's smile faltered for just a second before he recovered. "Mother," he said, his tone icy. "This isn't the time." She reached for his arm. "Please, Daniel, I need your help. Just 5 minutes." His face darkened. In one swift motion, he grabbed her wrist, his fingers digging into her fragile skin. "I said not now," he hissed through clenched teeth. Then, he slapped her. The sound cracked through the ballroom like a gunshot. Margaret stumbled back, her hand flying to her cheek, her eyes wide with shock. The room fell deadly silent. For a heartbeat, no one moved. Then chaos erupted. Gasps, whispers. A few guests stepped forward, but security was already there, ushering Margaret away before anyone could react. Daniel straightened his tie, his face a mask of calm, as if nothing had happened. "A misunderstanding," he said smoothly to the crowd. "My mother isn't well. She gets confused." The guests exchanged uneasy glances, but no one challenged him. Who would? He was Daniel Whitmore, but he had no idea who was watching. Sophia Rivera, an investigative journalist working undercover as a waitress, had seen everything. Her hidden camera, pinned discreetly to her uniform, had captured the entire exchange. She had been digging into Daniel's business dealings for months, suspecting fraud. Now she had something far worse. Proof of his cruelty. And then there was Marcus Grant. The reclusive billionaire stood on the balcony overlooking the ballroom, his sharp eyes fixed on Daniel. Marcus was a legend in finance, a man who built empires but avoided the spotlight. He had been Daniel's silent investor, the reason behind his rapid rise. But Marcus had his own reasons for hating men who hurt their mothers. His grip tightened around his glass. The fallout begins. By morning, the video was everywhere. Tech millionaire slaps elderly mother at charity gala. The internet exploded. Outrage poured in. Investors pulled out. Daniel's PR team scrambled, but the damage was done. Then came the financial blow. Marcus Grant quietly withdrew his funding, collapsing Daniel's latest venture overnight. Banks called in loans. Stocks plummeted. Daniel stormed into his office, screaming at his staff, demanding answers. But no one could save him now. The final twist. Just when Daniel thought it couldn't get worse, Margaret returned. She walked into his penthouse, flanked by lawyers. No longer the frail woman he had dismissed, she stood tall, her voice steady. "You thought I was weak," she said. "But I've known what you were for years." She slid a stack of papers across the table. Legal documents. Years ago, she had transferred her remaining assets into a trust, one Daniel couldn't touch. And then came the final blow. Marcus Grant stepped into the room. "I believe in second chances," Marcus said, his voice low. "But not for men like you." He handed Margaret a business card, a partnership, a new charity for mothers abandoned by their children. Daniel's empire was gone, his reputation destroyed. As he stood there, staring at the woman he had underestimated, he realized the truth too late. His mother had won.